Welcome to the Teacher Trials miniseries. This miniseries was written and narrated by Matt Spear and published with the help of Junior Art Lab. Episode 2, A New Beginning and a New Ending. Eli opened the door to the principal's office. He braced himself for what he was going to say to him. With a deep breath, he opened the door to find the principal sitting at his desk, his big folding chair facing away from Eli. Office smelled strongly of cleaning detergent as the sun shone in through the window, illuminating the pristine, dustless, spotless office. The desk sat in the center of the room, as the student-teacher handbook lay rested on top. The walls behind the chair were dotted with PhDs and diplomas from the principal, hanging nothing more. It was as if the principal did nothing but work, which seems to fit his robotic personality. The principal still sat turned away from the door, rotating the chair. His dress shoes shined from the sunlight, sending bright lights across the room. "Sit down, Eli," he informs, very displeased by his behavior. Eli walks down and sits down slowly, knowing full well what he is in for. "It has come to my attention that you were caught cheating on your language test," he declares before turning to face the young 7th grader. The principal's face was that of anger, a common look he had given to Eli many times, though before the results of age he had much less wrinkles, and his flat, patted down, impeccably gelled hair had much less gray. The principal stared intently at the young Eli, whose face was dotted with acne, whose sweats were so loose they practically dangled off of him. "Please tell me why you would ever think it was acceptable to cheat. I am sure you have read the student handbook, page 18, paragraph 3, that the use of all notes, whether written or spoken, are prohibited. Instead, you are found flipping to and from them. And what do you think the consequence is for that? 10 days suspension. As you have clearly forgotten, read this." The principal hands him the handbook that lay on his desk. Eli mumbled the words slowly. "It is also mandatory for students to extend exam review week starting Monday, June 23rd. If a student is caught cheating 10 days prior to said date, instead of suspension," as Eli reads, students walk down the hallway to find someone is staring at the door, their ear pressed against it, concerned as to what it is that Eli might say. Eli continues, "They will be given a probation. Should the students score anything below a 70, the principal interrupts, 75% to be exact. On the final exam, they will fail the course and have to make up the credit over the summer." Eli sets it down. "But Miss Mildred would not help me." "I tried to." The door opened as Dorothy Mildred walks in and sits beside Eli. "You know you are always welcome to come to my class between 4 p.m. and 5 p.m. Other students do it all the time," she tells him condescendingly. Eli sighs. The principal speaks up. "Please go to your phone and inform your parents about said issue." Eli sullenly stands up and walks out the door, just as he does in the present as the principal calls after him, "Remember, tomorrow I want to see paper notes and no computer games. Do you understand?" Eli nods before running back to his classroom. "The only thing harder than being a student in this school is being a teacher." The next day, Eli is up bright and early, not making the same mistake as before. There will be no lying to the cops and scrambling out of bed. This time, he will not make the principal's wrath. He is very determined to earn his respect, something he failed to do all those years ago when he was a student. As Eli sits in his classroom, he goes over the lesson plan for that day, the smooth paper soothing him, yet also filling him with past memories of the paper from his time in school. A sense of nostalgia comes through him. Eli stares at the old buildings. When he was younger, although he never had this classroom, he always imagined that rooftop, which he could never see because it was too short. He imagined it would be full of arcades and cool stuff. But now that Eli can see it, all it really is smokestacks and circuit breakers. All those years, all those memories, both good and bad. Eli stares out the window. The sun still rose from behind that thicket in the trees, and the warm slivers still warmed up the school after the cool spring nights. Eli's line of thought is broken as the school bell rings and the students rush in. This is it, the chance to prove himself. As the students pour into the classroom, significantly slower when they left, except for Bob, Eli readies himself. As the second school bell rings, signaling the start of class, Eli stands up to face them, who are chatting amongst themselves. Okay, everyone, they continue. Everyone, today we're going to be trying something a little different. We're going to get on with our first lesson. Let's get up our notes in the computer. In the door, Eli can catch a glimpse of the principal, who gives him a stern look in his eye. An all too familiar eye for Eli, which meant, do as I say, or there will be consequences. Eli was really hoping the principal would forget about the paper notes and just let him teach the way that he wants to teach, using his tech. Reluctantly, Eli orders, I want everyone to put their computer on my desk, please. Eli motions to the desk, thinking as to where in the school he was supposed to find paper in a generation where everything's done on computers, or at least everything but the principal. Most of the students stand up and slowly, reluctantly place it on the desk. All that is but Adam. No, you cannot separate me from my Adam, Mr. Cumber, Adam's computer states, as Adam and his friends snicker cruelly. Adam, Eli declares, remembering what the principal told him about needing to be tough and stick to the rules. Yes, Mr. Cumber, Adam answers innocently, as the rest of the class holds back the urge to laugh. Eli hears the principal's voice in his head. Remember to quote the rules, should all else fail. Adam, do you know what the teacher handbook states? Eli declares, although he does not feel good about this. Regret stings in his chest. He knows how hard it is to be a student. So why is he doing everything he hated? Just to impress the principal? Adam goes onto his computer and types something. It declares, yeah, it states that if you eat a cucumber, you would be guilty of cannibalism, Mr. Cumber. The class erupts in laughter. Adam quickly shuts down the computer. He may have gone too far this time. A sense of fear begins to form in him, just as a sense of anger surges through Eli. However, he has the presence to stay calm. Yelling at these kids to be quiet will not help anything. It will just make them hate him even more. Instead, Eli wants to play things as if he would play them, not the principal. He laughs along. Very funny, Adam. Okay, everyone, let's go on an adventure around the school and see if we can find some paper, he tells them as everyone stands up and walks out the door, the principal glaring at Eli the moment he steps out of the classroom. Just where do you think you are going? Eli rushes past. You cannot take them out of the class without filling a field trip request form within a minimum of 14-day notice. Eli stops walking and slouches, the feeling of defeat crawling over him. You did remember to plan in advance, did you not? Okay, class, back to the room, Eli commands before he sulks back to the classroom with them. Remember that the teacher handbook says teachers must come prepared, Eli finishes as he slinks back to the classroom with his students, the principal glaring at him while he does. Once again, at 4 o'clock, the school bell rings, and the kids make their way out of the classroom, faster than one would escape from the plague, except for Bob, who lingers, saddened by the end of the day, even though he still has 3 school days left before the weekend. The late-day sun shines through the window, making his entire classroom feel scorching hot, as the dim sound feels almost empty compared to the chaos that occurred just a few minutes prior. As Eli sits in his classroom, he decides to go through some of the students' IEPs, attempting to find some other method to help them. There must be something. After the failed paper incident, Eli knows there must be some other way to help them, and forcing them and punishing them doesn't seem to make a difference. Eli scrolls through the students' files. However, he stops in shock at Adam's file. It read, Adam Smith, on probation for risk of expulsion. Reevaluate at end of each week until further notice. Eli sets down the document. Risk of expulsion. His mind races back to the past, to his summoning to the principal's office, the last time as a student, just a week after the previous. The principal turned around, facing against the wall, as the faint sound of thunder echoed outside as the principal barked. "It has come to my attention that you've been caught cheating on your exam." The principal turns around, glaring in between Eli's acne, making him feel uncomfortable, to the point where he just stared at the diplomas on the wall. Unlike at the rest of the workers at the school, who have photos of themselves and those they love, the principal didn't. And even Miss Mildred did. The principal might as well have been a robot. "But I sent you the petition." "What petition?" "The one I sent about," the principal held up his hand. "No, you were referring to your notes during an exam, which is not only against our handbook, but also goes all the way up to the provincial office, in which the Minister of Education makes these policies, not me." The principal stands up and walks across the room. This was the first time Eli had seen him stand up in days. He was slightly surprised. His chair looked empty without him sitting in it. "Therefore, go clean out your locker. You are officially expelled from school." With that, the principal waved Eli out. "So the principal's already on the paper notes tactic? He's moving faster than he was for me." Kate's voice snaps Eli back to the present, having zoned out reading Adam's file. Kate is standing in the doorway, the golden sunlight illuminating her. "Do you feel that we should be doing something different, something more to help our students?" "Like what?" "I don't know. They're always on their..." The words train off as Eli runs to the principal's office. This could be it. Eli barges into the principal's office, which to Eli's surprise looks exactly like it did all those years ago. The diploma still hung behind the desk, as the bookshelf on the side of the office looked the exact same. Not a speck of dust, not a book had been changed. The principal's desk had not changed either, and he was still using the same model computer as he did 15 years prior. The teacher-student handbook sat to the side, which no one used the physical handbook anymore. It's all computerized these days. The principal even sat in the same folding chair as he used to, turned away from Eli, the same tactic that he used when Eli was a student. Eli was so shocked that a part of him wondered if the principal really was a robot. Even though he had been there earlier, he had not taken much attention to the office. "Yes, Eli, what is it?" the principal asks. "Sir, would it be possible to try and help my students learn how to use AI in a way that could help them?" The principal turns his chair around in the exact same fashion that he used to years ago. "No. As you will recall, we have an inspector coming next month after exams, and if we do not prove that what we are doing cannot be replaced with computers, then you will all be fired." "You?" "I'm retiring next year, as the province declares that no one can work over the age of 65. This is my last year of principal, and I will not let it be the last year of teachers. But kids will always use AI. I definitely did. However, AI is not the problem. If we show them how to properly use it, that would not..." The principal's computer begins to spark as a sizzle of steam comes off it, similar to that of a steak on a barbecue. The principal begins pressing the keyboard randomly. "Not again!" He presses it so hard to the point where he's just banging his fist on it. Eventually, Eli walks over to the once pristine carpet, now scorched dashes across from the sparks, and turns the computer over to him. He bounces back as a sense of sharp pain hits him as one of the sparks hits his arm. He jolts back, the burn stinging his arm. However, he goes over again and begins to type commands onto the computer as he mumbles to himself. Command R, reset. Nothing happens, save for the principal, who slinks his chair to the farthest corner in his office, dodging the sparks in his way. Eli takes a moment to stare into the carpet. There are diggings in the carpet where the chair used to be. That chair has not moved in years. Eli begins to type again while mumbling. Command Shift O, off. Nothing changes. This time he unplugs the computer power cord and slips the manual power off, while also typing and mumbling. Command Shift $, hashtag Command P, power. The sparks and sizzle begin to die down before eventually ceasing. The principal, folding chair behind him, stares up at Eli in surprise. Eli, without a word, exits the office, leaving the principal behind. What will the principal's decision be about using technology? And how will things play out with Eli's students? And how does Miss Mildred and Kate fit in? Come back next time in the Teacher Trials mini-series to find out. Thank you for listening.